Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sports Arena. Yes, on a Tuesday night. Your man Eric Wilson here, and we just want to start off by paying our condolences and respects to the family of Vincent Jackson, who we did find out yesterday passed away at the young, very young age of 38. And there we go. Having technical difficulties. I guess 2020 is not through with us yet. Anyhow, like I was saying, paying our respects to Vincent Jackson, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, passed away at the age of 38. Details are still forthcoming. We will, as they come, I'm sure we'll talk and discuss it. With that, Alex calls Mike Evans and Chris Godwin the dynamic duo, but I really think the dynamic duo is myself and my man, Turning Point Podcast own Mr. Jake Rongholt. Let me get him up in here this evening. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Even on a Tuesday night, things are happening right now, and they're all going in the right direction, and I'm excited. Let's just say I got some news, and it'll be coming up at the beginning of March, and that's all I'll say.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful thing, man. And, you and I have been up and down the road over the last 11 years together, from LA to Illinois to Florida. And I mean, it's been a tremendous ride. I'm so excited for you, and congratulations. Yes, I know what's going on, and I'm not sharing. Ha ha. Anyhow, you know, it's bittersweet, man, that we start this conversation tonight with the fact that the Tampa Bay Bucks, who just created history,
Yes,
were the first team to not only host and win a Super Bowl, to go from that to losing one of their own in Vincent Jackson. I just, I don't even know what to say, except it's truly both ends of the spectrum. Now, as I said before, technical difficulties happen. Details are still surfing. But Jake, just talk to me, man, a little bit about, what you remember of the man, may he rest in power, Vincent Jackson.
I remember a man that did his talking on the field with his production, and that's what really mattered about Vincent Jackson. Even when he went to Tampa Bay, I was telling people this guy is going to be a terrific receiver. He's going to be a good Pro Bowl, and he was. In his first 3 years in Tampa Bay, he was a Pro Bowl receiver. I mean, look at the numbers. I mean, he was averaging 17 to 19 yards a catch, 57 touchdowns. At a point, he was averaging 7 to 9 touchdowns per year. In 2008, 2009, and 2011 through 2014, he had 1,000-yard plus season. So 6 of his 12 seasons, he had 1,000 yards plus. And this is crazy to me because he came out of the University of Northern Colorado. No one knew who he was except for the Chargers and Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees, and even Ryan Leaf knew about it. I mean, Ryan Leaf is beyond himself right now because he feels like that he lost an NFL brother. I mean, another thing, too, is Jackson was such a great and charitable person. The best thing he did was, and you know me because I'm a veteran of the United States Air Force, but he created a sponsor, and it was called Jackson in Action. He also had a front row for fans. They were for the military families, but he was mainly focused on the children of these military people. It was about education, the physical and the emotional input on how to give these kids a brighter future, even with their parents. I mean, you're talking about a guy who came from a military family. Both of his parents were in the military together. So he knows exactly what he was trying to do. And it's a monster loss. And what really bothers me, Eric, the most, to me, I cannot believe this is not a bigger story. I really can't. He died at 38 years old. Kevin Greene was a big story. He died at 58. Vincent Jackson was found, unfortunately, deceased in a random hotel room in Florida, in Hillsborough County. But no one is talking about. No one is trying to figure out this mystery, and it just kind of shocks me because outside of Tampa Bay, I've heard nothing about this. It was just kind of like a blip on the screen. But I'm like, I knew about Vincent Jackson. I mean, he was one of my favorite receivers because he never
Everybody.
taught to the media. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna say everybody. I mean, I don't care if you lived in Tampa or if you're a football fan, you know the name Vincent Jackson.
Yeah.
You know what this man is capable of. So I completely agree with you. Why this is not a bigger story? Why this is not something that is not been all over ESPN, NFL, FS1? I don't get it. I mean, maybe they're waiting for all the details to come out before they actually pay homage to this young man. And just to think about it, like 38. Like I cannot wrap my head around it. We have lost way, way too many good people. And I honestly, I'm sick to my stomach. I haven't even, I've tried to reach out to our girl Ruth just to see how she's doing. I want to see how Martine is doing, um, because I know they interviewed him prior to the Super Bowl. Like Ruth, our girl, Miss Ruth the Truth, and Martine Gramatica just talked to Vincent Jackson.
Yep.
Like I know the whole Kevin Bacon 6 degrees of separation thing, but I mean, it's just crazy to know that someone who we are very close to just spoke to this man who was an athlete. He was a father. He was a brother. I mean, and 38 just doesn't, that number just does not resonate with me. And I say that because I'm 44. You know what I'm saying? It's like this man completed in his lifetime what so many people wish they could, and they wanted, and they so gravitate towards that. He accomplished so much, and then to give back. And I rest in power to this man, because I'm beside myself with it. But I know there's more to this story. Go ahead.
Ryan Leaf, I think, said it perfectly to why we're not hearing about this. And this is what he said, quote, I don't know what the bleep to do anymore. He was also NFL teammates, with the late Junior Seau, and we know what happened with him with CTE. He goes, my
Yes.
NFL brothers continue to die, and nobody is doing a blank damn thing about it. I talked to another brother who spent the weekend in a psych ward today. The NFL doesn't blink and care. They'll write condolence letters and blank like that, but if they were actually invested, they'd actually put some money behind the Legends community and into the mental health, substance abuse side of it, close quote. That is something to think about. That is another side to the story that we have not heard from anybody outside about this story. It was just, Vincent Jackson dies at age 38. It's like,
Right.
What if there was more to this story than there is? And I think Ryan Leaf is pretty dead on about this. I mean, he knew Vincent Jackson. He knew Junior Seau. And he knew that when there were situations that were out of his reach, that these things have started to happen. Now, we don't know all the details about Vincent Jackson, but that is something that I would like to hear. Why was there no NFL statement on this? I mean, he was a 3-time Pro Bowl winner. He was giving back to the community. He was doing everything that the NFL wanted from him on and off the field, and this is what they get. Flip off the screen. Next.
I know, and I'm just bear with me here. I'm pretty sure that the Bucks did actually put out a statement. Actually, yes.
Oh.
Now this is from owner and co-chairman Brian Glazer regarding the passing of Vincent Jackson. He said, we are shocked and saddened to hear the terrible news regarding the loss of Vincent Jackson. During his 5 seasons with our franchise, he was a consummate professional who took a great deal of pride in his performance on and off the football field. He was a dedicated, again, father, husband, businessman, philanthropist, had a deep impact in the community through his unyielding advocacy for military families, supported by what you said, the Jackson in Action 83 Foundation. 3-time Pro Bowler, accomplishments on the field, but his greatest achievement as a Buccaneer were the 4 consecutive nominations he earned as our Walter Payton Man of the Year. So
you gotta love the Glazers, man. They're just full of class. They are a classy ownership. I mean, that goes all the way back to the late Malcolm Glazer. So
yeah, more to come on that, I'm sure. And as time goes on, we will definitely break that down and talk more about it. But we just want to start the show off tonight offering our continued thoughts and prayers to his family.
Absolutely.
Because again, I'm sorry. I know I keep saying it, but 38, like it just blows my mind. All right, you know what? I want to transition out of football because I mean, until the XFL starts, if it does, football is over. We've got basketball to talk about,
Yeah.
and I definitely want to talk to you about the Western Conference in particular because Jake, we found out today Anthony Davis is going to be out 2 to 3 weeks. And the Utah Jazz are on a 8-game, I believe, winning streak. So
Correct.
are the Jazz a true threat in the NBA? Have we just been sleeping on the Jazz for the last probably 15 years since Malone and Stockton and Hornacek left the building? I mean, probably 20, but are the Jazz like, a force to be reckoned with now?
They're a great team. The problem is that they just can't get over the hump right now. They haven't been able to do that since Stockton and Malone, and that's been an issue with Quinn Snyder. Quinn Snyder is a guy who has won 56% of his games since he's been in Utah. He's 271 and 211. But look at the playoffs. He's 13 and 21 and has only won 38% of his playoff games. Now you look at the numbers and it's a lot better. The Jazz went out, they did some shopping. They were able to get Bogdanovich away from the Bucks after the Bucks, destroyed that deal. So, they had to find a way to, bring in somebody, and the Jazz were able to bring him in, and he's averaged 15 points per game. Mike Conley looks like he's back in Memphis once again with 16 and a half. But the biggest story is outside of Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert is what they're doing with their bench right now. Royce O'Neal and Jordan Clarkson. Jordan Clarkson is having his best season statistically since being a member of the NBA. He is a sixth man. He's averaging 18 points per game. He had a career high 40 points against the 76ers last night in a 134-123 victory. The Jazz are a very good basketball team. They won 8 in a row. Their only loss was to the Denver Nuggets, my Denver Nuggets, I might add. And that was a tough
one. That is your sleeper team. That is
my
yes.
sleeper team, and I will stick with that. I love the Jazz right now, but listen, we got to understand we are still in the early days of the NBA. It's great to see that they've won 25 games. They've only lost 6, but let's understand this. Until LeBron James gets injured or something ridiculous happens with the Lakers outside of Anthony Davis, I can't say it because the Nuggets are still strong. The Suns have gotten better, and this Western Conference is still a different beast right now. If this was Eastern Conference, I would have crowned the Jazz as the winners of the Eastern Conference. But right now, it's a wonderful story, but I need to see more. If the Utah Jazz believe they're the team that can knock off the LA Lakers, prove it. Go to this, try and win at least 60 games, lose 12, and then get in there and see if you can knock out the great king himself, LeBron James. Until then, can't buy it until you improve that playoff record.
Okay, but Jake, you gave me the numbers right there. 25-6. This isn't an 82 game season. It's a 72 game season.
Yep.
So, you know what I'm saying? We're looking at, okay, so a third of the season pretty much is already gone. And the Utah Jazz only have single digit losses. Mm-hmm. So, and now you couple that with the fact that Anthony Davis is going to be sidelined for 2 to 3 weeks, who, in my opinion, and shout out to our boys at the Say What, Say It Again sports talk show, because they were like, they feel it's too early, as do I. I feel like AD he has to be out longer than 2 to 3 weeks. I understand the shortened season, but I feel like LeBron and the crew can get the job done without Anthony Davis up until the playoffs. So if you give him that extra time to make sure he is truly healthy for the postseason, because that's when you're going to need him the most. Yeah, the Lakers, we already know this. It doesn't matter where the Lakers fall in the playoffs, okay? Yes, ultimately, number one is the goal of every team in their respective conference. I get all that. But even if you're a 2 or a 3, they still got to play you. And we know LeBron is on a whole other level when it comes to the postseason. This man right now, I'm not saying he can afford to take a game off. I'm never saying that. But what I am saying to you, though, is when you know you have your guy in AD and you know how viable he is going to be for you in the postseason, don't rush him back. Because what I
No, and
don't want to happen,
you don't need to, but
what I don't,
The Jazz should not be worrying about the Lakers. They should be worrying about the other teams in here. I mean, the Clippers, 21-8, they have won 7 of their last 10 games. The Suns, they have also won 9 of their last 10 games, and they are a ridiculous 17-9. Keep in mind, they have missed games because of COVID. The Trailblazers are coming to life, 16-10, and then the San Antonio Spurs. As long as Popovich keeps coaching that team, I'm never counting those guys out. 16-11, 7 of their last 10 games. And even though they've had a couple of postponements because of the freezing weather in Texas, the Jazz have got a lot to prove here. They are like the bridesmaid of the Western Conference right now. And if you're going to try and prove that you're the bride, that you're the one that became the fiance and got engaged, you have to step up and you need to beat the best teams when it matters the most. It's a great story right now, as I said before, but it's the playoffs that really make me matter and make it matter the most, to where I'll say, then I will believe in the Utah Jazz. Good example last year, my dark horse, the Miami Heat last year. Remember, they actually stepped up when they needed to. They won their last 10 to 12 games. They went into the playoffs. They were the hottest team in there, and that's how they got in the Eastern, how they got into the NBA Finals against LeBron James and the LA Lakers. So until the Utah Jazz prove me otherwise, that they can win in the playoffs and get into the NBA Finals, I can't go full force on this. I just can't.
I'm not going full force. And welcome our brother, Mr. Alex Fleming, to the show.
Okay.
I'm not going full force with it. But what I am saying to you, though, is I'm looking at this and saying to myself, again, 25-6 on a 72 game season.
Mm-hmm.
That is not something that I'm just going to oversight. Am I saying they're going to win it all? No, that's not what I'm saying. But being a viable threat right now, not only in the Western Conference, but in the NBA, I think the Utah Jazz are serving some notice right now. Alex, I'm going to kick it over to you, sir. Thank you for joining us here on the Sports Arena. Please give me your thoughts on where you feel the Utah Jazz are as currently constructed right now, coupling that with the fact that AD is going to be out, as they're saying, 2 to 3 weeks.
As of right now, the Utah Jazz are hotter than chicken grease. 17 of their 20 wins has been by double digits. That's a record. They're on a 19-1 game winning streak. If you can win 19 out of 20, you pretty much wrapped up a spot in the playoffs. They have the best record in the NBA. Jordan Clarkson off of the bench is just murdering people. You remember last year during COVID, whenever Rudy Gobert and Devin Mitchell had to speak to each other? They're on the same page. Quinn Snyder has always been an excellent coach, and now they're clicking on all cylinders. They will hit threes on you like they will slap you and call you Susan and Blankman. This team is playing inspired basketball. They heard all the chirping from Shaquille O'Neal, and they're like, you know what? Hold my beer. Watch what we can do. And now that Anthony Davis actually has gone down for about 2 to 3 weeks due to a calf strain, not an ACL, Utah will, quote me, will be the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. Now, let's go into history. 51-31, lost in the Western Conference Finals. 50-32, lost in the conference semis. 48-34, lost in the first round. And then last year, when they were 44-28, and they're actually pretty good, they couldn't get out of the first round. Denver beat them. Here's my point. I don't give a damn what you do in the regular season, because playoffs is when everything matters. You got to show me something.
Okay. All right. I am just not going to sleep on them right now based on what I've seen. And we always talk about momentum. And right now, the Jazz have probably some of the best momentum in the NBA, which is why I'm saying to you, and again, let me state clearly for everybody can hear me and understand. I am not saying they are going to win it all. What I am saying to you, though, is if they seize this opportunity, and to Alex's point, if they finish number 1 in the Western Conference, the Utah Jazz are going to have to elevate themselves and continually have that Shaquille O'Neal chip on their shoulder. And I think right now they are making a case to do that moving forward.
Okay, but let me play devil's advocate here for one moment. What do you think is more likely to happen? The Utah Jazz will get the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, or the Minnesota Timberwolves will get the number 1 draft pick for next year's draft?
That's not
the Wolves
fair.
are 7-20.
That's like asking me if I want lemon pepper or like hot and spicy. I mean, come on, man. You can't. That's. I mean, you did, but damn.
I'm still gonna go with Utah. I'm still gonna go with Utah because you got to think Detroit's one of those teams that can compete with the Minnesota Timberwolves about being the worst team. They're about to get rid of Blake Griffin. I mean, for real, Detroit. The only thing worse than the Detroit Pistons is Flint, Michigan water right now. That's how bad Detroit is.
Blake said he's sitting out. Blake said he is not. He will sit out before he plays.
I mean, Blake's mediocre right now anyway. Ever since he jumped over that car, the Kia, and child support's been hunting him down like a bunch of ghosts in Pac-Man. He hasn't been the same, bro.
All right. Let's keep it going, gentlemen, here on the Sports Arena. My man Jake Rongholt, along with my brother Alex Fleming. So, I do want to stay on basketball, and then Alex, I do want to talk to you about a couple of things. But, gentlemen, we actually have 3 NBA teams in the state of Florida. That is the Miami Heat, who went to the NBA Finals last year, the Orlando Magic, and we will get to them. Trust me, we will get to them. And then we have our transient Snowbirds who have joined us, who are going to play their entire season at the Amalie Arena in the Toronto/Tampa Bay Raptors. These 3 teams are either on the cusp or on the outside looking in when it comes to the postseason. We are about to be, I would say, give or take within the next couple of weeks, halfway through the season. Yeah. Are any of these teams getting into the playoffs? Alex, are any of these 3? Yes. Then please enlighten the Sports Arena viewers and audience, because I don't see it, sir.
The Toronto Raptors have the best chance of making it in the playoffs. You have to remember 7 through 10, there's going to be a little playoff system because they're taking the top 8 teams. Toronto is right there on that cusp. If they get that trade with Cleveland for Andre Drummond, this team will be dangerous. Think about what they've been doing with Spicy P, Chris Boucher, Yuta Watanabe to go with Kyle Lowry and Norman Powell. They needed defense and they needed rebounds because that's how they lost most of their games, on the defensive rebound and offensive rebounding set. If they get that trade with Andre Drummond, they're going to be a problem. Quote me on that. Miami, they needed a reset. You have to think they've only had 72 days off from when they played in the NBA Finals. Now, some teams got eliminated early. They were the last team to play because the Lakers won and they were playing the Lakers. So they had 72 days to get rested and adjusted to the 2020-2021 season. So the Heat, they just need to get healthy somehow, some way, and they need to readjust. I don't think they're done yet. Unlike the Orlando Magic, which are done. Bro, 8 players out of that entire roster played against the Phoenix Suns the other night. They lost 90-109. An 8-man rotation? Are you kidding me? How in the hell are you going to compete against teams with 14 fresh-bodied players with an 8-man rotation? And even if they do make a run, it's a little bit too late because everybody else who isn't on the outside looking in is going to have a better record when it's all said and done. The Magic need to miss the playoffs so they can get healthy, so they can retool for next year.
Jake, give me your thoughts on this. I've got something I'm holding back. As the song say, I'm holding back the tears right now. But Jake, give me your thoughts on this, and then I'll speak on it.
I got to start with the worst. I got to start with the worst of the 3, and that's the Orlando Magic, sadly to say, because I mean, first off, they got pedigree on this team. They got Nikolai Vucevic, who, I mean, who is averaging almost 24 points a game. Evan Fournier is actually having a pretty solid year. I mean, he's nearly 18 points per game. Terrence Ross is still doing a good job as the 6th man there, but Aaron Gordon has time. And then Markelle Fultz. Losing Markelle Fultz to a torn ACL was a monster loss. I mean, he was averaging 13 points per game at that point. They were actually on a roll. Steve Clifford was feeling it right now. And then that happened. And once you lost one of your top players, then they were not able to adjust. And general manager John Hammond was not able to make any moves. Also, another thing, he's got to start feeling like his feet are at the fire right now because his last 2 draft picks have not worked out. Look at the Chicago Bulls right now at Patrick Williams. They picked him 5th overall with Florida State, and the guy has started every single game. You look at Chuma Okeke, yes, from Auburn, 5 points per game. Mo Bamba, who was one of the most dominant centers in college basketball a couple years ago, 4 points per game. His rebounds have gone down. And then Al-Farouq Aminu, who was supposed to be this big move that they made 3 years ago, has done nothing this year. He's played 1 game. And the Orlando Magic has got to figure out what they're going to do. Is Aaron Gordon on the market? Is Nikolai Vucevic going to be? I just don't know what the game plan is right now for the Orlando Magic going forward. Not for the other 2 teams. I still think that the Miami Heat are going to sneak into the playoffs because they have a chance. They're in the Eastern Conference, and Jimmy Butler has only been healthy for less than 2 weeks. But he has already come back, 20 points per game. They still got Duncan Robinson, 44% from the three-point line. Them Adebayo with 18. He's starting to get better again. Give the Heat some time. They're going to find that rhythm. They're going to get back into this, and they're going to be that team to watch out for in the future. But I am not counting out the Toronto/Tampa Bay Raptors for anything right now because Pascal Siakam is still their leading scorer with 20 points. Fred VanVleet is having a monster year. He is having one of his top years. He has started a majority of the games, and that is one thing that they want to keep doing. Kyle Lowry, yes, his points have gone down, but he has still been solid. The Raptors started off the year 2-8. Remind yourself of that. And since then, they have been slowly getting back into this. Watch out because guess who the coach is? One of my favorites, Nick Nurse. And as long as Nick Nurse is the coach of that team and Masai Ujiri is running that team, I am not counting out the Toronto Raptors anytime in the future.
All right. So I'm going to start my way south and work my way back up. So let's start with the Miami Heat. And Jake, to your point, yeah, Jimmy Butler, 2 weeks back, he's starting to get his feet underneath him. So I'm going to say the proof is going to be in the pudding. But where they're at right now, especially after giving Bam Adebayo all this money, I'm like, okay, bruh, you got to show me something. And I understand you had to grab the bull by the horns with Jimmy being out and kind of be, Alex, I love quoting your articles, a leader among men. I just need to see more of it. We know what Spoelstra is capable of. But see, Spoelstra has always kind of, I won't say gotten a pass. He's been fortunate because he's had great players on his team. So now, as you said, Alex, with them kind of rebuilding with the Jimmy Butler, a Tyler Hero, a Bam Adebayo, now it's trying to find, can I bring back that heat, no pun intended, with this group that I had with previous guys who I played with who brought championships to Miami. See, Miami is about championships. The Miami Dolphins might not be about it, and the Florida Marlins damn sure ain't about it. But the Miami Heat, they are about them rings. So I want to see what happens with them. Now let's travel up 75 and we hit the 813 in Amalie Arena. And like I said, our snowbirds, the Toronto Raptors. You hit the nail on the head. When it comes to coaching, I never count out Doc Ock, as Alex calls him. Nick Nurse, being on those conference calls and those Zoom meetings and being at the Amalie and being able to talk to this man and look him in his eye and have conversations with him, I know this man's about his game. He's about his X's and O's, and more importantly, he's about winning. So listen, whether it's Mr. Bet on Yourself dropping 54 at the Amway Center, Fred VanVleet, whether it's about Spicy P, or it's about that bench production of the Watanabes of the world, the Bouchers of the world, the Norman Powells of the world, then yes, I say that depth is going to be their greatest advantage moving forward. But they need to figure it out because that train just ain't moving as fast as I would like it to. And I really need to see more from them. I really do, Jake. Because I think coming up against some of these top echelon teams, when they play them down the stretch, you are going to need that production. And that's where I'm going to focus mostly on the defensive side and I'm going to focus on that bench and say, can y'all handle that pressure when guys like Van Fleet and Pascal and Aaron Baines and Lowry aren't having such a good night? Can we rely on you to step up? And more importantly, can you close it out? Because we've seen Toronto fight tooth and nail to the very end. And when that last shot happens, the ball just doesn't fall their way. Close these games out.
It is tonight right now because with about 4:12 left in the fourth quarter,
they're fighting with Milwaukee.
Bucks 109, and Fred VanVleet, my guy, 33 points, 12 for 21 shooting, 5 for 11 from the three-point line. The guy is averaging 41% shooting, and it continues to show. Look, if you're beating the Bucks right now at Milwaukee, you're doing something right. You just got to try and finish the job.
Speak on it.
Now, I want to go over the I-4 and hit the team that Alex and Jake, the three of us have covered over the last 3 seasons.
Yep.
We all know about it. But here is where I say to you, gentlemen, I'm not big on giving passes. I know C's get degrees, but the injury bug has played this team. Okay?
Okay.
Jonathan Isaac, knee injury.
Yeah, again.
Markelle Fultz, torn ACL. Al-Farouq Aminu, health problems. Evan Fournier, back problems. You can only get the double-double machine and the all-star Nikolai Vucevic. This man can only do so much. I mean, damn it, put a cape on him already because he is carrying this team. And the Human Torch, a man who I greatly admire, I got a personal challenge for him next time we in Orlando and I see him. I'm like, bruh, I need you to start draining threes like it's your job because that's exactly what it is. He has to be a leader coming off this bench. Now, I take nothing away from Mo Bamba because he's still young. But again, Alex, you have called him out more than I have. And I have been on record as saying I need to see more. But I think I'm going to have to take the kid gloves off and say, okay, bruh, you were the number 5 overall draft pick the year they drafted you.
You could have had Luka. You could have had Luka.
Yeah, you could have.
Amen, Alex. You're right. They could. You're right. For whatever reason, they went the direction they went with. This is the cards that the Magic have dealt themselves, so now they got to play them. So, Mo Bamba, we need you. Now more than ever do we need you.
Year. Get back to what you were looking like in the rookie year when we were all looking at each other going, Magic may have a star in the making, and then
no, I can't give him a pass, and this is why. I spoke about the game Sunday night against the Phoenix Suns, right? The bench, Khem Burke, another player, Chuma Okeke, and then there was Mo Bamba. Burke, Okeke, 9 points. Mo Bamba, 2 points. They had a total of 20 points off the bench of a 3-man bench. Now, one thing Mo Bamba did do was pull down 11 rebounds, but the team was out-rebounded 59-48. Yeah, I pay attention to my Magic. Now, look on the opposite side of the Suns bench. The Suns bench only scored 35 points. Magic bench of 3 scored 20. The Magic need to get healthy. They need to make some damn trades. If you aren't healthy within a year's time, get rid of them. Because they're just getting money. They're stealing money. They're pulling Deshaun Jacksons. They're stealing money. Al-Farouq Aminu, I have nothing against you. Can you please get healthy so you can start contributing to this team? Mo Bamba, we could have had Luka. Hell, we could have had Trae Young. But we have you. And you're not helping Vucevic out in the damn slightest. I like you. As a person, as a figure in the society, in the community, you're an excellent person. I want to see some production on the damn basketball court. It's gone too far. And as far as Chuma Okeke is concerned, Auburn, fine. You had an injury. Why does Magic have an infinity for players that have an injury? I don't know. But you're on a team that desperately needs your help because Cole Anthony, who's replacing the point guard, is now down 2. We need help. And if you're not going to help, clean house.
Or Steve Clifford.
Yeah.
The guy can't catch a break.
Oh, Alex, I'm going to give you the final word, sir. Then we're going to go ahead and get out of here since we are, you are wearing very proudly that Super Bowl champion hat of your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that you have covered over the last 6 seasons and done a phenomenal job, by the way. Just give us your thoughts on Vincent Jackson. We started the show talking about him. I feel it's only fitting that we end the show giving our condolences once again to his family and just getting your thoughts, sir.
Vincent Jackson was a hell of a player coming out of college that was with the San Diego Chargers. He was a deep threat for Phillip Rivers, a security blanket. Vincent Jackson taught wide receivers how to run routes and how to use their bodies to manipulate coverage and be a more dominant player. San Diego Chargers did him wrong, and he went and took a contract with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Now, the Bucks weren't good in the early 2010s, but you know what was good? The highlights in a multiple quarterback carousel and Vincent Jackson going across the middle, getting those throws and those hits from double teaming safeties and corners and linebackers. He was a mentor to Mike Evans, and he was an even better person off the football field and in the community. It's sad what's happened to him and the fact that his family had to deal with this. I hope the road that you take leads you home and you rest in peace and power. You will be missed, not only on the gridiron, not only in the community, but in a lot of South Florida and Tampa Bay hearts. You were a good man.
Fair enough. That's how we're going to end it, ladies and gentlemen. The Sports Arena with your man, Eric Wilson, my brother, Alex Fleming, pop-up shop, Journey with the Jays, a football world, and we just live in it, the Carousel, Florida Sun Review, Central Florida's oldest Black living newspaper. Brother's got a lot of articles. And, of course, our brother, Jake Rongholt, Turning Point Podcast, telling both sides of the story. Everyone, before you go to bed tonight, hug your loved ones. Just tell them you love them. And let's remember that, because time is very precious and life is short. The Sports Arena, your man Eric Wilson, we're out.